Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. More for place than for show, or whatever. Anyway, we are about ready and at that stage where we're going to turn things over to the Hall of Fame committee to do the inductions. First thing I think is to ask that the inductees to be present themselves up here and take a seat. And I will assume that the induction committee will take it from here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to begin the festivities here, so thank you very much. Look at this, press conference, isn't this great? Let me get out of the way. Our honorees are here on the stage. I'm Jordan Rich, and it's a pleasure to see you. Today's format a little different. Thank you. Thank you. The format of today's Media Gang Luncheon is a little different. We won't be walking from table to table because of the time needed to honor these wonderful folks up here. But there are just a few people before we begin the festivities we want to mention. I understand the Ryans, where are the Ryans? They're celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary this month. Happy anniversary to you. There you go. And Lenny Segal is here. Lenny is, where is he? Lenny? From the Turnpike. And on Saturday, I understand, I've been told that Salem State will bring to you an honorary degree. And congratulations, Lenny. Dr. Lenny from now on. A degree in jazzology. And there's one more note. The people assembled here on this wonderful stage, believe it or not, if you combined all of their ages, they would not add up to the age of Larry Glick, who is here today and celebrating a birthday. Where's the commander? Larry? Okay. We're going to sing happy birthday to Glick. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Larry. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Larry. Welcome back. Yes, everyone on three, the Larry Glick salute for the man. No. We're being filmed. Okay. Once again, welcome, and it's really a pleasure. This event today is sort of a continuation of what happened a week and a half ago at Massasoit College Radio Classics Live, 18th edition, and I was there with many of these wonderful performers, including Jess and Rex, and today we're going to find out how this Hall of Fame, Massachusetts Hall of Fame at Massasoit College, came about. So what I'd like to do is introduce two very important people to this cause, and just ask them a couple of questions so we'll fill everybody in, and then we'll begin with the awards. Look at that lady with the dress. Didn't I see you on the top of the cake out there? What are you doing here? Well, so we're going to first welcome two wonderful people known to everyone here in this room, both of whom have extensive broadcast backgrounds, community involvement in every way, whether it's theater, writing for theater in Dick's case, or doing presentations and bringing us all together. First, let me welcome from many years at WBZ and elsewhere, a wonderful performer in her own right, Barbara Brilliant. Barbara. And as mentioned, gentleman who now is dedicating his time to writing very clever things and writing plays and just being he's the kind of guy you want to invite to a cocktail party just to sit around and say funny things. Dick Flavin. Dick?
Is my mic on? I think it is. I want to welcome everybody here, and I want to in particular, before we can go any further, say where is Len Zola? Len Zola and his board of directors for allowing us the privilege of doing the Hall of Fame right here at his wonderful Bar Mitzvah event, the 13th year of doing the Media Gang. So thank you very much, Len. I really appreciate it.
Let me do this, and I'm just going to step out of the way in a minute, but I wanted to ask both of you, we'll start with you, Barbara, and then Dick, to just tell this audience here, for anyone who doesn't know, the origin of this. We have a lot of folks from Brockton to thank, but please.
I decided it was a good idea, and I did it all by myself. Well, actually, there's a broadcast school at Massasoit Community College, and we have the president here, Charlie Wall. Let's say hello to everybody. Charlie Wall. and we have Charlie Walls, Mary Men, and Cheryl, and Dick Cronin, and Alan, and they have a broadcast school, and they thought that it would be a good idea, and so did we, to honor all of you here, the people who have worked in broadcasting and bring pleasure to so many people. So they got hold of a man who has about a 35-year history in broadcasting. As a matter of fact, he was, what I think almost single-handedly, that got the PBS station up in New Hampshire, and that is Art Singer, and he is the chairman of the board. Art Singer, why don't you say hello? Now, Art's big talent, it is not that he wrote a book about Arthur Godfrey, the quintessential memoir on Arthur Godfrey, or everything else he does. His best talent is to get jerks like us to come work for nothing. So anyway, so that's what happened actually, Jordan.
And Dick, if you could take the mic and just give us a sense. I mean, this is something that's been ongoing, an idea that's been in the works for a long time. A lot of us here at these lunches have heard about it. But this is the culmination of the idea. And what does it really mean? What does this gathering of so many luminaries mean today? It really is kind of special.
You know, we wanted to put this together for a number of reasons. One, there should be a history of this business, and on what everyone here and people who've gone before us and people who will come after us have done and will do. And this will be a repository for that history. Two, we want to honor some of the legends. And that's what we're beginning to do today. We're honoring the first of them today. And three, there should be a repository for some of these tapes and the old transcripts so that people will be able to... Am I not...
I got to teach this guy how to use a microphone? What the hell's going on?
Doing a bad job?
Everybody on the dais is saying, get that jerk to get the microphone.
Swigler, could you hear me?
Do you hear him, Bruce?
What?
See? Thank you, panel. Thank you very much.
But anyhow, that's what we want to do. We want to have a repository for some of the great work that these people up on the stage have done, and that so many of you have done. And that's what hopefully this will become over the years. This is just the first little baby step.
Okay, we have other perhaps future members of the Hall of Fame listening in tonight and this afternoon, so you folks out there deserve all of our appreciation as well. At this point, I think it's time to begin the awards presentation and process. I will simply stand here to assist whenever needed. Barbara, take it away.
Thank you, thank you. Assist away anytime you want to jump in, Jordan. I just want to say that I was able to get us a very beautiful model, Melody Michelson, to help us out to make it really very, very special. She came in the top 1% in all of her exams, and she'll be going to college next year. So this is Melody Michelson. And I'd also be remiss if I didn't say congratulations to the couple who's been married for 50 years, but I have a couple, the Ories, who've been married for 55 years. Stand up. From Connecticut. 57 years, better still.
Do I hear 60?
Wait a minute. 54 years, that counts. Excellent. Wait a minute. Where's Fred Cole? 65 years for Fred Cole. 61. 67. 51. And Frank, did you ever get married? Okay, he did.
Sounds like you're pulling the lottery numbers here, Barbara. What's the magic number? What's the Powerball?
And who said they'd been divorced longer than that? Was that you, Dick? Anyway, I'm going to get very serious. I'm going to get serious now. And we are thrilled that you're all here. And you know, some people, when I was walking around, they said, well, how did you get money to do this, even though we're doing it on a very tight budget? Well, the steering committee, of which I'm a member, kind of kicked in, and we've done it on a shoestring. Also, we had Al Tanger. The college has been very generous with their resources. And we have Arthur Moreau, who is not here. He's not well tonight. He devoted a wall. So if you go to, by Brockton, Massasoit Community College, there's a wall where all the plaques are going to be hung. So you can always visit it. And the other little thing I want to say quickly, Dick, and I'm going to give you the mic, is hopefully next year we can get many more of you involved in this, because we've been doing it on a skeleton crew. We hope that we can get everybody here involved in doing such a worthwhile project. And you can get double my salary.
Thank you, Barbara. It's only fitting that we give these awards out in this setting, which is basically based in the the broadcasting industry. And so all these honorees get the chance to look out into the beady-eyed, envious faces of it. But this is just the beginning. We go on from here, and many people who are sitting in here will eventually be in the Broadcasters Hall of Fame. And so perseverance is the key. To persevere is the key. Charlie, I'll give you an example of how persevere works. A week and a half ago, I was in a place for lunch, a little diner for lunch. And as I took off my coat and hung it up, I found a $10 bill in the pocket I didn't know that I had. I was sitting at my little table, glorying in the fact that I had this extra $10 bill, and I noticed a guy, kind of a seedy-looking guy, sitting across from me. And I said, you know, I didn't even know I had this $10 bill. That guy looks like he could use the $10 bill a lot more than I could. So I took a piece of paper up, wrote one word note on it, persevere. I folded up the $10 bill into the piece of paper. On the way out, I dropped it on the guy's desk, on the guy's table as I went out. A week later, I went back into the same restaurant. There's the same seedy-looking guy. I went over and sat down. The guy came over to my table, dropped a whole fistful of $10 bills on my table. I said, what's this for? He said, persevere, pay 10 to 1. So it works. Our first honorees owed their careers to the Boston Red Sox. In the 1940s, when the Red Sox games were on the old WHDH and there would be rain delays, the broadcasters would throw it back to the studio, and there were a couple of studio announcers who had the job of filling in during the rain delays, sometimes an hour, sometimes 2, sometimes 3 hours, and they were so good and so entertaining that management decided to give them a tryout for a morning show. And those young announcers' names were Bob Elliott and Ray Goulding. And that was the beginning of Bob and Ray. They started here in the Boston market, and of course now they belong to the whole country. Some of the great legends of broadcasting. We several weeks ago awarded a plaque to the family of the late Ray Goulding, and Bob Elliott's plaque will be brought up to him in May. But meanwhile, if you look over here to stage right, we can roll the videotape and give you a look at what the great Bob and Ray were like.
Good evening again, friends. We have in our Bob and Ray troupe several characters, and we thought tonight we should introduce some of them to you. We have, you've probably heard him, a young cowboy gentleman who conducts or leads the Smoky Valley Boys that are fast catching on as one of America's favorite cowboy teams. We'd like to bring him out here now.
I'm sorry I was a little bit late, Ray. I got here just as quick as I could.
Friends, I want you all to meet Tex.
Howdy, folks.
Just
I brought
right
a little
up.
bit of a poem along with me
Well, just a
that I
moment,
thought
Tex.
would be kind of appropriate to this first show I've been on with you.
Well, we have plenty of time for the poem. Tex, I want to ask you a few questions before you get to it.
Anything you
I
say.
suppose now that we're getting close to Christmas, you'll be heading home to Texas.
Yes, I expect no, I won't be heading home to Texas, no.
Well, how's that, Tex?
I'll be going back to Louisiana.
Louisiana?
That's right,
Well,
that's my home.
Well, why do you call yourself Tex?
Well, I didn't want to be called Louise.
Who is it speaking?
Well, this is Bob and Ray calling you, Sue, from New York. Your number was chosen at random, and you're tonight's lucky phone call.
Fern, do you know a Bob and Ray in New York? No. What is this, some kind of contest?
Well, in a way, your number was chosen at random, and of course, the odds against our picking your number are pretty great, sir.
Oh, I imagine. I
Well,
won
they
some
must
kind of a
be,
lucky phone
millions,
call.
Millions and millions to one, actually,
Yeah.
that you are tonight's recipient. Mr.
Say, what do we win?
Let me ask you how you feel about being the recipient of this first lucky phone call of spring.
Oh, great. Terrific.
You feel
Look,
excited? What's
now
that?
that I'm wide awake, what did I win?
Mr. Becky, we're going to send you a Bob and Ray scroll. A
Bob and Ray scroll?
Yes, it says that you're the recipient of this lucky phone call.
What's a Bob and Ray scroll?
You mean you woke me up to tell me you're sending me a scroll saying I'm a lucky phone call?
That's right, sir.
What's lucky about
And
that?
congratulations again.
They are so funny. They're wonderful. The next award, and unfortunately he could not be here either, somebody I worked with at WBZ TV, and I know we have George here, Bob Merman from BZ, and Harvey is here, and who am I missing? I know there are a lot of other friends. That's what's the fun of it. And Len Zola was there very briefly too. But that's the fun of these events, because you come here and see people you haven't seen for a long while. And I don't know if it's true in other jobs, but in broadcasting, when you work with a group of people for many years, it sounds corny and cliche, but it does become like a little family, and you have kind of a special relationship even though the years may separate you. So a person I feel very close to, even though I haven't spoken to him for, I don't know, 15 years, is Tom Bergeron, who started at BZ TV. Bruce Schwegler. Let's say hello to Brucey. Hi, Brucey. And Brucey, you want to know what he's doing? He's doing green roofs. He's doing all kind of stuff in a project with MIT, so I catch up on everybody. Anyhow, back to Tom Bergeron. He is very, very funny, and he and I used to crack up all the time. We used to laugh. He'd make me double over laughing. So they finally decided to give us a turn to get together and to be co-hosts, because we had such a good relationship. And we did a show, and the show they gave us was with Adam Walsh. Do you know that sad story of his little boy was the Adam Walsh's father? So it was such a very serious show that, you know, a little bit was lost on Tom's humor, but he has gone on to not to do too badly. I don't know, I'm here at Lombardo's, and he's doing America's Funniest Videos, and he's doing Dancing with the Stars, one of my all-time favorite shows. So we are going to present him an award as well, but he gave us an acceptance, and take a look at this.
Hi there, Tom Bergeron here. I'm on the set of America's Funniest Videos, where we're about to shoot a couple of shows tonight, and I just wanted to take a moment to say how honored I am to be inducted into the New England Broadcasters Hall of Fame. The fact that you've chosen me tells me that it was slim pickings this year, basically. No, you know what? Forget that. That's false humility, and I hate it when people get really good awards and they pretend like they don't deserve it, because frankly, I deserve this. I worked in New England broadcasting, radio, and television for years, for decades. Where were you then? I've been waiting a long time for an award like this. I'm not getting any younger, you know. I mean, really, you know, the more I think about it, I'm kind of annoyed with you people. I mean, it's 2007, for heaven's sake. I started in New England broadcasting in the 70s. I'm sorry. That's not the tone I wanted for this at all. Cleansing breath. I'm sorry I couldn't be with you at the ceremony today, and in all honesty, I really am honored. Thanks so much.
Tom Bergeron. Cute. But may I make just one little, here we're going to see this again. That was good. The official title that you didn't ask and you don't care, but anyhow, the official title is not New England, whatever Tom said. It's the Massachusetts Broadcasters Hall of Fame at Massasoit Community College. And you may not have heard, but there are a couple people who really helped get the technical side together that we would be nothing without them, and they're Ed Krasnow and Paul Beck, so we want to give them a big thank you. Thank you very much. I lost my co-host. Oh, here he is.
Our first inductee, who was here live and in person, began as a reporter with the Boston Globe, and he never lost his journalistic commitment. He was a broadcaster for years and years, but always was a reporter first on all of the shows that he did, and he well deserves to be in the Broadcasters Hall of Fame. Let me read what his plaque says. He combined his journalistic talent and his flair for talk radio to illuminate the issues of the day and to enlighten and stimulate and entertain his listeners. Inducted into the Hall of Fame May 16th, 2007, Paul Benzaquin. Paul.
Okay. I didn't know the gun was loaded. We broadcast in the public interest and necessity. That's what it says in the FCC. Well, I never felt it was necessary, but public interest, that was my bag. So, WEI on a hazy day said we need a guy like this. So I went there, and under the tutelage of Howard Nelson, I learned when to hit the button. And it's been a rosy ride since then, and I'm sorry I quit. Age intervened. However, there's a great bunch of broadcasters in Massachusetts, and I hang in there with them, and I'm just delighted to be a local boy who made mediocre.
Congratulations, Paul Benzaquin. The next person we're honoring is a friend of mine, as many of you here are as well. And some people think he clowns around. I don't know why they say that. But he's had a long, distinguished career, and it is our honor to present our next Hall of Fame award to the handsome, the debonair, Frank Avruch.
Should I read it? Whether entertaining children as Bozo the Clown, their parents as a movie show host, or in a myriad of other roles, he's the ultimate broadcast professional. Whoa, very nice. Thank you. I guess what Dick said, some of the legend, I guess I'm one of them here, but I started in this business, I hate to tell you, I was figuring out the other day, almost 60 years ago, in radio, at a station called WVOM. Does anybody remember VOM? Sometimes called the Voice of Massachusetts, sometimes just called Vomit, I don't know, but it was a wonderful experience. They had a lot of foreign shows there, and I learned how to say hello and good morning in Italian, in Spanish, and in Jewish, and in everything. Anyway, it was a wonderful career, and I feel very blessed because not only was I fortunate to work in radio and television, I did just about everything. But two of the last things that she mentioned here, I came with Bozo the Clown, and that to me opened up a whole world. I did 12 years. It took me around the world twice as a UNICEF ambassador, and after that I did the movies thing. So I feel in the time that I've spent here, I'm looking back, and it's been a wonderful career, and I'm glad I was able to entertain and amuse some of the people. And I'm still not done. I'm still doing, believe it or not, even though I have a cold, a few voiceovers at Channel 5. I just won't say goodbye. Anyway, thank you very much for this time.
Our next inductee came to Boston by way of the Broadway stage and the old Phil Silvers show. Remember, You'll Never Get Rich. He was a part of that, and he came to Boston, and what a ride he gave us for 35 years. There is no one, not just in this market, but in America, who had more talent and more imagination than our next inductee, and his plaque reads, his wit, inventive imagination, comic genius, and captivating personality amused and delighted generations of loyal radio listeners as they arose to begin their day. Ladies and gentlemen, new Broadcasters Hall of Fame member, the great Jess Cain.
you left out handsome and debonair. I have a message from a couple of gentlemen who couldn't be here. They are interviewing a young man who was going to be on their show, and they wanted to check out his talent. And his talent is that he can belch the alphabet. So the regrets of Opie and Anthony, who could not be here. You know, seeing Bob and Ray on that screen, and having known Bob Elliott quite well, I was honored at Massasoit because Ray Goulding's son, Tom, came down and brought one of their scripts, and we did it together. And I did Bob Elliott, and Tom did his father, and it was just wonderful. It's just, there's Laurel and Hardy, two inspirational performers, and Bob and Ray. And they meet where in what they did was always clean, inevitably amusing, orderly, and also on the screen. And I place all four of them in my pantheon of inspiration. I have a wonderful painting by Al Hirschfeld that my wife gave me for my 60th birthday. It's in color, and it's Laurel and Hardy. And Oliver is projecting the bow from his violin into the eye of Stanley. And the caption on a brass plaque says, "Here's looking at you." I'm honored, and I'm so pleased to see so many faces. As I grew up in Boston radio, present in this room today, I thank you. May I add one more thing? Okay. I want to tell a story about our beloved leader, George W. Bush. Now immediately you have to know this is an apocryphal story because it opens with his going into a library. And he walks in and there's a matronly lady behind the counter, and he goes to her and says, "I like a double cheeseburger, a double order of fries, and a super-sized Coke." And she said, "But Mr. President, this is a library." "Oh, I like a double cheeseburger."
That's great, Jess Cain. I think Art Singer, you see, this is Art Singer there. He is so smart. You know, look at this. We didn't have to pay a penny. We got all this talent. It's fantastic. Isn't this the best? Our next award goes to somebody who is not here, but you all know who Joyce Kulhawik is. She's had an illustrious career, and she's still going strong as entertainment reporter. And so that we're going to have Jordan Rich. Can you put on a wig? Okay. Joyce Kulhawik for the day. For almost 3 decades, she's given viewers insight into the worlds of theater and entertainment and brought significant attention to the work of local artists. So this is for dear Joyce.
Thank you. 3 stars. Actually, I'll bring this back to the station, and I can only say this about Joyce. We all know about her work on the air. Most of you know, too, that her work off the air, fighting cancer, and she's fought it in her own life 3 times, and she's a true champion and a great, great friend. So for Joyce and everyone at WBZ TV, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jordan.
Okay, moving right along. How many remember the Carnival of Music show all those years ago? Our next inductee not only hosted that, he invented that show. Eventually it was named after him, but he predates that by a good many years, because back in the 30s and 40s he did remotes in the old days when the radio big band shows were done on the radio. He would go out to locations, not just in the Boston market, but all around the country. Could I have the plaque that I can read the citation of our next inductee? As a remote announcer from ballrooms in the 30s and 40s and a popular disc jockey in the 50s and 60s, he brought music to generations of listeners. Inducted May 16th, 2007, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Fred B. Cole.
All my experience in broadcasting, I don't think I've ever had anything more exciting than being right here with this wonderful group. These people I've worked with and others who are watching. A choice beyond reserve. And I want you to know I have had some sensational times, but I can't remember things. Even my wife and my $2 are constantly kicking me in the rump because they say, Daddy, why don't you try to learn and remember? I had one wonderful broadcast. I used to do broadcasts from the Ritz-Carlton roof. And one night I was doing one, and oh, the orchestra, fantastic. I can't think of his name right now. But what? What?
Artie Shaw.
Yes, Artie Shaw. And I said to him, Artie, I have a program on Wednesdays. Would you come over and be a guest? He said, Fred, I'd love to. I love the way you do my announcing. So I'll be there. And he showed up on Wednesday. When that program ended, he climbed over the table, hugged me and shook my hand and said, Fred B., you have given me a title for a fantastic program, which I will record very shortly. And the title is one people will become familiar with. The song, which he told me about, corresponded with the music, with the program I was doing. And the title of the program was The Back Bay Shuffle, and it became sensational with Artie Shaw's orchestra, and among other things. But I've had many contests, and I can't tell you all or time you up telling you about things, but I did have a letter that came to me a year ago, right after the 4th of July. The President of the United States thanked me for inviting him to come to Hingham on the 4th of July and ride in the wagon with him and see the parade. And he wanted to do it, but he said, I didn't get in touch with him on time. And it was too late, so we had to let it go. But that was another one of those things that I always remember. But they don't compare with this crowd of wonderful people. You all are so familiar, even though I haven't worked with all of you. A joy beyond words. And thank you all live.
Thank you, Fred B. Cole and the Back Bay Shuffle. That was great. Now, Bruce probably knows this, but a lot of people, no matter what we do, they really are tuning in for the weather. Everybody wants to know what the weather's all about. And for 56 years, this man's name, and it still is true today, has been synonymous with weather. He's our next honoree, and I would like to present Don Kent. Don Kent, he followed his childhood passion, and for 6 decades on radio and television, New Englanders trusted him to report and predict the weather conditions. And I understand you started in grade 3?
I started in grade 3 back in 1925. I was born before radio, so I suppose it's understandable. Radio was started by Westinghouse, KDKA. The time was 1920, I think, was a Harding election. They didn't even have a license for radio then. WBZ Westinghouse started in Springfield. I think they were the first licensed radio station in America. I never thought I was ever going to end up on that. My third grade teacher called me the class weatherman because I spent my time looking out the window, watching clouds, watching the way the smoke was blowing out of chimneys. You won't believe it, but 2 years out of high school, after taking the college course but not going to college, lack of funds, in the middle of the Depression in 1935, I went to the brothers that owned the Pote, I think it was Pote Brothers, that owned WMEX in Boston. There were very few radio stations then, and they took 5 minutes out of the organ program that ran from 12:30 to 1 to give me, for no money, and I made no money, got no car fare, and did the program for 2.5 years. It was on the radio during the 1938 hurricane preceding it. And I have proof of that because one of the people who was at the Weather Bureau with me that morning wrote a story in the Hartford Courant 2 years ago on the anniversary of the hurricane and told about how we were up in the Weather Bureau and getting the weather map when they used to print weather maps and didn't do all the stuff they do now. So anyhow, this goes back to then. I went in the Coast Guard because I was a small boat operator. They wanted someone to get immediate leave without even training on the submarine patrol in Boston. So I signed up for that, went to the Coast Guard on the 20th of August in 43. You won't believe this. I went to the Hotel Brunswick was the receiving station then, not here anymore. The next morning with my uniform, I went down to muster. They had a special announcement from the Navy. They needed 10 people to be airway weather observers in the Coast Guard. Called for volunteers. One hand went up. There were 9 draftees. And since I had known the Weather Bureau people from going to the Weather Bureau all those years, I was put in charge. Okay, we did that, and it went through the usual business of the Coast Guard. I ended up at the Coast Guard Air Station in Salem, Massachusetts, and went up through the ranks from just a third-class petty officer to a chief. I had a very lucky forecast, and I'm not claiming victory, but the government thought so because I told the Coast Guard not to do an overnight plane patrol convoy duty because of a bad storm impending. And some other branch of the service took it. They had a tragedy, and the word got back apparently to the headquarters. And 3 months later, I was a commissioned officer in the U.S. Coast Guard, the only weather officer they had. So I'm not counting that as part of my 56 years. My 56 years started WJDA Quincy in 1947. WJDA and WES no longer exist. And then from then on, I went through BZ Radio under different names because first I was Don Dixon in Quincy. Then I was the Weatherby, the BZ Weatherman in BZ. Then when I began in TV in 1955 through 1983, I was my own name. And I did radio since until 2 years ago.
Congratulations. This is well deserved. And thank you for that history lesson.
Anyone remember when people used to listen to the Bruins games? Well, then you will never forget this voice which described Bruins games for more than 30 years. Could I have a look at this plaque so we can read the plaque? As the longtime voice of the Boston Bruins, his booming voice, oh, what a booming voice, descriptive powers and knowledge of hockey painted a vivid picture of the game. He's already in the Hockey Hall of Fame. Now he's in the Massachusetts Broadcasters Hall of Fame. Inducted May 16, 2007. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Wilson.
I don't know what to say, except thank you very much. And I'm so happy to see the other inductees. As Barbara talked about being part of a family, part of my family is up here with me. I've worked with Frank, with Jess, with Don, with Rex, with Fred B. We were all together either at WHDH, the old original WHDH radio, 850, or at WBZ, 103. My first family was at WCOP, and there are some of you here today from the old WCOP. Tightly formatted, top 40 rock and roll. From there, John Day took me to WHDH as a summer replacement, and a lot of you know what that trail leads to. Led to 7 wonderful years as part of the Bruins family. I left to go to St. Louis, came back 2.5 years later at WBZ, stayed there for 7 years. That seemed to be the magic number. Went to WMEX, which became WITS, followed the Bruins. I was with the Bruins family for 30 years and enjoyed that family as well as the radio families that I had been a part of. I would like to talk about the longest running show in my life. It opened before an audience of about a dozen at a church in Arlington on Thanksgiving Day, 1950. It's still running 24/7. And I'd like to introduce my partner who made this career possible, Nancy Gaston. Thanks, babe. It's been a great ride.
Thank you and congratulations, Bob Wilson. Now, Ron De La Chiesa is here. He says he's a music maven. But the song I'm going to tell you about now, I bet it was never on the Metropolitan Opera broadcasts. And I'd like you to join me. Come along, folks. Do you know that? At boom. 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 So I bet you can guess who the next one is. Rex, generations of children grew up watching and participating in his long-running Boomtown show on television. He brought them a slice of the Old West. So Boston's favorite cowboy, let's give a big warm welcome to Rex Traylor.
Thank you, Barbara. Howdy, folks.
Howdy, Rex.
How many times did I say that on television? Yes.
May I read your plaque? Liz Walker, the first African-American woman.
All right, listen. Jess, what am I going to do with you, Jess? Well, this, you know.
We really needed him here.
You know, you see, there was a little preliminary ceremony at Radio Classics at Massasoit. So that's when Rex got his plaque. So we said, Rex, they'll never know the difference. Bring your plaque to the luncheon. Rex said, great, I'll bring the, so when Rex came out, I said, did you bring the plaque? He says, I said, not to worry, Liz Walker isn't going to be here. We'll give you her plaque.
Does that give you any indication as to who can keep a secret? Thank you, Jess. We really needed you there. The interesting thing is I worked with a lot of the folks on this stage here, and gentleman down the end, Frank Avruch, when he was in his other costume as Bozo the Clown, he and I did many personal appearances together. And a lot of people said, well, he was on Channel 5, you were on Channel 4, weren't you mortal enemies? And as a result, we were the best of friends, and we were friends for many years and still are. Great guy. We've had many adventures together that would take too long to explain right now. And Don Kent and I worked together at Channel 4, and we had a wonderful relationship. In the morning, my show would go on right after his broadcast, and he is also a great sailor and boatsman, and I really enjoyed that, and I enjoyed joining him on that. Jess Cain and I are no strangers. I was on the air back in the 40s, the late 40s. I had to add that, late 40s. On Dumont Television in New York. And then I was asked to go to Philadelphia to be on the air there, and I was on the air 5 years there. And I met Jess. At that time, he was doing a comedy show there, and he was acting. I guess it was kind of a comedy drama type thing. Yeah, that was very good. And then he went to Dumont, and then I went to BZ after that, after they sold the station in Philly, and I came to BZ, I was on the air, and who's on the air? Jess Cain. And he was on the air for many, many years. How many, Jess? 90? 90. Yeah, so we have a long association going. And by the way, Paul Benzaquin, I wanted to thank him for a show me joke. Remember the show me joke? You know, show me this and show me that. Well, I was listening to him one time, and he had one, show me a woman who refers to her undergarment as a petticoat. I'll show you a Freudian slip. I thought that was the best one I ever heard, and thank you for it. I've used it many times and credited you with it. By the way, I wish you all could have been, how many were at Massasoit? Okay, quite a few of you. And you will back me up on this. A wonderful school. I teach at Emerson College. I've been there 30 years. And Massasoit is a beautiful facility. It is a gem in the middle of Brockton. And the auditorium that this wonderful Hall of Fame was presented at, and Jess and I did a radio reenactment of Duffy's Tavern. Anybody remember Duffy's Tavern? And he played Duffy, and he had me play the Lone Ranger. The Lone Ranger visits Duffy's Tavern, and it was a classic, all right. No question about that. But this is an honor, and it is a double honor to be with these wonderful people on stage here. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Rex. We wanted to honor the business side of this industry, and we wanted to give special recognition to entrepreneurship. And we have chosen a fellow who began his career in sales side in the old WCOP and WORL. You remember those? Almost a fortnight ago, those stations were around. And then he managed stations for Norman Knight. formed his own radio rep company, and eventually bought stations in Worcester and in Keene, New Hampshire. And if I could have the plaque, I can read what it says here. He has devoted his professional life to the betterment of the radio industry as an owner, operator, builder, and representatives of stations in Massachusetts and beyond. Inducted May 16th, 2007, Harold Segal. Harold. Sure, that's good, yeah.
Can you hear me all right? That's too bad. I feel like I've been resurrected. Most of my friends and associates are either dead or they have run Alzheimer's. I'm very pleased to be here. When I came out of World War II, before I'd gone in there, I was a student at Boston University, and then enlisted after Pearl Harbor. And I was overseas 2.5 years in North Africa, Sicily, and Italy. And when I came back, I finished up at BU, got my degree, and I entered the broadcast industry in January 1948. I was there a short time when a very dear friend of mine, eventually, Harry Wheeler, called me, and he was at WCOP, and he was a sales manager at the time, and he was a wonderful man, and I enjoyed working for him until August 1950, when another gentleman, a fine gentleman, I've been very lucky. There are 4 people that are tremendously influential in my life in the industry. The first was Harry Wheeler, the second was the next gentleman named Arthur Haley. He was putting a radio station on the air in September 1950. He called me sometime in July, and he asked me to have lunch with him, and I did. And he tried to convince me to join him at WORL, but I didn't want to join a 5,000-watt daytimer against a 5,000-watt full-timer WCOP, which was the ABC affiliate at the time. Well, anyway, Arthur took me out to lunch about 3 or 4 different times, and one Sunday afternoon he called me, and he said, Harold, I've spent $17,928 on you on lunches. And this is what got me to join him. He says, Harold, either defecate or abdicate. I turned to my bride, Miriam. I says, honey, I like this guy. And I joined him, and I had the most delightful Camelot years I have ever experienced in my 40 years in the industry, 10 years with Avruch. And we had a great relationship, more than an employee-employer. We were good friends. Then I had an opportunity to work with Norm Knight. Norm Knight called me and asked me if I would build this group for him. And his first station was in Portsmouth, WHEB. And I managed that. And then in time, other stations came in, and that became the Night Quality Stations group. And I enjoyed working for Norm. Norm was a brilliant, is a brilliant businessman, but a fine gentleman, and he has a fine family. So in conclusion, just let me say that in the 40 years I was in the industry, I can claim that I never worked a day in the 40 years. I looked forward to going to work every day. I was at my desk between 7:30 and 8 every morning, and as my wife will tell you, I was very good to her. I never came home too many nights. The 4th person that I want to mention that helped shape my life both in business and in civilian life is my bride of 61 years. That was my lucky day. And I want to thank everybody for coming, and I want to extend my gratitude to you, Barbara, and to Dick, and to my fellow honorees, and just tell you, it's just been a wonderful day. Thank you very much.
Let's hear it for Carol Segal. You know, because of Jess Cain, the next award is no surprise. Liz Walker. Liz can't be here, but she is thrilled to receive her award, and we're going to have Jordan come up and accept for Liz Walker, who is, do you want to read it, Jordan?
Liz Walker, the first African-American woman to anchor the weeknight television news in Boston. Her commitment, character, and leadership have made her one of its outstanding citizens. And if I may add, because I know Liz, and I do see her, she does the Sunday program, which is brilliant. She's an ordained minister, as you may know.
Went to Harvard, got a master's degree.
And much of her time is spent a little outside the Boston market in places like Darfur. She's involved with many organizations bringing relief there, and she's a good lady. So on behalf of everyone, except you, Jess.
Yes.
No, I'm just kidding. Because you've straightened out the whole program.
I think we should stand up and give all these honorees a great big standing ovation.
Thank you.
Congratulations to all of you. Thank you so much for making our lives better, except Jess.
We'd like to get a picture with everyone here. I'll take the mic down. And ladies and gentlemen, please stick around. Len, you're going to have a few quick announcements, are you? And a raffle or something? Or okay. We're just going to get a picture up here.
Hey, Jim. Order for it. I have 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and 5 o'clock. That's times. Are you sure? Heading